Hello, I'm Elisa Jung, and I'm a physician and life and money coach. So today's topic is sunk cost. And by sunk cost, I mean costs that have happened that in the past, and now you're looking at whether or not you want to throw more money in, or you're looking, regretfully at that sunk cost. So there are many examples of this, right? So one example could be you bought whole life insurance and then you found out that, yeah, it's really not a good financial product. It's not really something anyone should buy. No, don't buy any life insurance that's not term life insurance. There's very few reasons why anyone would need anything but term life insurance. So if it's whole life insurance, universal life, permanent life, any of those kind of insurance, stay away. But I'm telling you this now, and you might be thinking, "Oh God, I just bought that 2 years ago. I've already, put so much money into it. What should I do now?" And chances are, if you just bought it somewhat recently, meaning like less than 5 years ago, that you just want to let the policy go. And so, of course, that goes to the, "Oh my God, I've lost so much money that I've sunk all that money." And the truth of the matter is that these insurance products are sold because they have really high commissions. I've heard commission could be 50% of the first 10 years that you're in that policy towards the person who sold you that policy, which is why they sell it so hard and why so many people end up buying it, because of that hard sell. But, you know, you can't change the past. You can't, go back and tell your, past self, like, don't buy that policy. And that money is gone. And there's really no way to get that back. But what you can do is prevent the loss of that money in the future. So instead of constantly paying for that, universal life insurance or whole life insurance going forward, to at least stop the quote bleeding and stop making those payments, get whatever value is left out, even though it may be significantly less than the money you put in, and just chalk it up to your education. And I know that's easier to say and harder to stomach when you're losing, all that money. But again, that's really the thought, that you've lost all that money. You can look at it as you've spent that money in the education of what not to do, and now you're going to move forward and get more financially educated so you know what to do correctly. And you're not going to keep putting more money into this policy, which is really not right for you. So universal life insurance is certainly a place of sunk cost where I've had clients had that come up. So you just want to make the best decision with your money today with the knowledge that you have now. You can't change what you've done in the past. You can only change what you're doing now so that you can have new results for the future. And so there may be times where, like, you quote lost money, but really in the end is what you've paid for is that education for what not to do so that you don't do it again. And you don't want to continue doing something just to try to make up for it, to see if if there's, another avenue. I mean, certainly look at, all your options, but sometimes the best option is just to quote, stop the bleeding. Now, there are other types of sunk costs, right? So like, let's say you have a child in college and they're considering dropping out, and they're a sophomore or junior college and they're considering dropping out. And so now you're thinking, oh, like, we've paid for all this college and there's not even going to be a college degree. Well, again, what you've already paid for college, I mean, that's a sunk cost. You can't recoup that money back. And maybe your child will go back to finish college and maybe they won't. But they got something out of those 2 years or 3 years. And while they may not have gotten that college degree at this time when they're dropping out, like, just look at the fact that you probably would have sent them to college 2-3 years ago, even if I mean, there's really no way you would have known that they were going to drop out. So if you would probably make that same decision again, you can certainly feel good about that decision and just support the child. There's some costs could be even just like looking at your own education, right? So unfortunately, we have a lot of physicians deciding to leave medicine, somewhat early on in their careers due to burnout or moral injury or a number of factors. And there may be the idea of the sunk cost of like, oh, well, you went to medical school, you went to residency, you spent all those years in training. And yes, those are all sunk costs, but that, person has been a physician for however long they practice and it served its purpose. And so whatever that purpose going forward, like, having had all that education training is still, caused a lot of growth and development and can still be an asset no matter what that person chooses to go off in the future. So just remember, you can't change the past, and, just give yourself grace that your past self made the best decision that she could with the information that she had. And, hindsight is always 2020, right? But we don't know what the future would bring. If we knew what would happen in the future, we would certainly change our actions now. If we know that there's going to be a stock crash, then maybe we sell our stocks before the stock crash, because if we know the future, but we don't know the future. We know that eventually, there is going to be a recession, just like eventually, it's going to recover. There's just always ups and downs. The one thing that we can be certain of is change. But what you really just don't want to do is beat yourself up on any decision you made in the past. Just be kind to yourself and just, know that you are always trying to make the best decision with the information that you have on hand. And, your past self didn't necessarily know something that your present self knows. And so your past self tried to make the best decision with what they knew and what resources they had. So just give yourself some grace and then think about how you want to move forward with what you know now. Right. So hopefully those words of advice were helpful. If you'd like to work with me, if you'd like to actually get some coaching individualized to you, please just go to my website, www.growyourwealthymindset. You can schedule a free consultation call. We can talk about, what's going on in your life, what you want changed, how you want to move forward, and how I can help you get there. Thank you.